For the first few days of your journey back to Greykeep, Katras is withdrawn and quiet. But the more distance you put between yourselves and the Lorrainian swamps, the more he returns to his cheerful self. On one evening, with Greykeep looming in the distance, you find him surrounded by a group of Wolf Guard soldiers and Black Company mercenaries, regaling them with wild tales of his past adventures. Even Yria, who until this point had kept her distance, shakes her head and smiles.
Great view, isn't it? I have to say, Greyfell is more fun to look at than Calabrock.
Is it?
Hell yes. I mean, if spikes and chains and nails are what you're into, I guess it's pretty. Not my kind of aesthetic, though. Either way, something you need?
You and Wraith don't like each other, do you?
Well, I don't have a problem with him. He's the one dishing out the cold stares.
How come?
Oh, it's always been like that. I never got it, to be honest. I think it's because we're so different. See, General, Wraith has always been the silent, brooding type. He's a thinker, and for him, motivations are as important as results, even if he never tries to claim otherwise. Take what happened to his family, for example. He hates himself for it, and he thinks there's something noble about that self-loathing. Almost like a never-ending funeral rite, you could say. I, on the other hand, am not a man for regrets. I act, I reflect, and I don't look back. It's almost poetic, that.
And that's why Wraith dislikes you?
I think so, yeah. To him, I'm a primitive, selfish, drunken brute whose recklessness is the only reason he made it so far. I'm everything he detests.
Did you ever try to make up?
Yeah, recently actually. The day after we got back from the Crimson Mire.
How did that go?
Just how I expected. He gave the right answers, nodded in the right places, but walked away with that same sullen look on his face.
And that's all? He dislikes you because he thinks you're selfish?
No, you don't understand, General. He thinks his wife and his kid are dead because he was too selfish. In his eyes, I still am selfish, and hence, in that strange and twisted way his mind works, I embody a part of his old self. I embody the reason his family's gone. But then again, I might be wrong. Maybe it's just that back in the communes, I became quite popular over the years, and he didn't. Things like that stick.
I see.
He does have an interesting way of seeing the truth in people.
This may sound a little odd, but I've been wondering. What are a mercenary leader's long-term goals?
Right into the deep stuff, eh? Honest answer? I don't know. I don't spend much time dwelling on these kinds of things.
Wouldn't that help?
Why? So that I can picture myself all old and saggy trying to resurrect the shriveling snake down there? No, I'll pass. The more you think about these kinds of things, the more you worry. Until I'm too weak to wield an axe and too boring to go carousing with, I don't see the point in brooding over the thought.
How's the morale of your men?
What do you mean, morale? The Queen pays us, we're happy. End of story.
Not you, though, right? You're not here for the money.
Oh, let's not do this, shall we?
Do what?
Solemn declarations of ideals, me telling you that I've changed. If my years as a mercenary have taught me anything, it's that words are worth nothing. If I had a penny for every time I told some rich fool what he wanted to hear because it got me where I wanted, I would be shitting in golden potties by now. So this one time, judge me by my actions, not by my words. Deal?
Deal. So, Katras, are you with someone?
By the Guardians, are you flirting with me, General?
Do you mind?
Why, I am shaken to my core. Here I am, an innocent nobleman, fighting the end of the world, yet all the fabled General Arev thinks about when seeing me is... canoodling.
Innocent, my ass.
You wound me. Scandals aside, though, as much as it hurts me to say it, I've never been, excited about men that way. Don't get me wrong, if I were, you'd be on the top of my list. And not just my list, but I'm just not feeling it. Sorry.
How'd you do it?
Do what? Look so dashing?
No. How do you always make light of everything? It just feels like... I don't know. Nothing ever gets to you.
Huh. Let me tell you a story, General. Once upon a time, there was a dark elven boy. Like every dark elf from Calabrock, he one day found himself on a bunk bed in a dank room cut into a cave reeking of mold, sweat, and boiled cabbage. His memories were gone after drinking the brown liquid, and everything about his new surroundings terrified him. So that's also how he behaved. Eyes downcast, voice low and whispery. Like the hyenas children are, the other boys quickly caught scent of his weakness. And so only 1 week after his admission into the communes, the boy found himself surrounded by 3 other boys, demanding his breakfast ration, mushrooms and a crust of bread.
What did he do?
He handed both over, and he did the same thing the next day, the day after, and the weeks that followed. But the boys decided that merely depriving him of his food wasn't enough, and spiced up their morning visits with clouts, punches and kicks to the gut. It went on for months, until one night, the boy found himself awake in bed, so deeply terrified of the following morning that he considered giving up altogether. He knew where the overseers kept the brown liquid, and he also knew that one of his brothers had ended it in a similar fashion the year before by drinking 2 bottles of it straight.
What about Wraith? You joined the communes the same year, didn't you?
Wraith was one of those boys who compensated for his lack of muscle with wits. He made friends with some of the older boys by running errands for them every now and then. So when the boys who bullied me tried to pull the same stunt on him, 2 broad-shouldered 50ers showed up and showed them their place.
Smart.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
There are overseers in the communes, right? How come they didn't do anything?
That one's easy, because the whole idea of the communes is weeding out the weak.
Wait, you contemplated suicide? Just because the other boys beat you up?
Were you ever a child, Erev? For boys, the approval of their peers is all there is. And not only did the boy not have that, the others hated and ridiculed him. The boy had no friends, no family, no prospect of things ever getting better. All he had was fear.
But the boy didn't kill himself.
No, because when he snuck inside the laboratories where the overseers kept the liquid, he realized something. Most of his dread was fear. The boy was afraid of the grim days that lay ahead of him. The boy didn't fight back because he was afraid of the pain they would inflict on him if he did. In short, the boy was afraid of a future that hadn't even happened.
And then?
Then he realized that even if the future and the world were as grim and dark as he thought they were, he sure as fuck wouldn't give it the satisfaction of being afraid of them. He could spend his whole life in fear. It wouldn't change a damn thing. All that mattered was action. And on that night, he had 2 choices. Ending it under the assumption that it wouldn't get any better, or wiping away those fucking tears and actually doing something for a change. The next day, when the boys came for his bread, he broke their leader's nose. They broke his hand in return, but they left. When they came back the morning after, the boy awaited them with a bottle of poison, which he threw right into their faces. They didn't come back after that. And a year later, they were eating out of his hand. What I'm getting at, fears and doubts are useless. You'll never change anything by worrying about it. Just do all you can, and once you have, fucking stop worrying. So, do I want to see Jakku stopped? Yes. Do I spend endless nights brooding over all the things that could go wrong? No. Even if my fight against Cerebral God will be my last one, I'll make sure I go out with a grin on my face.
What about Zerobi? Aren't you afraid of what's going to happen to her if she pursues her military career?
I had a feeling you'd bring that up. Yes, Erev, I am afraid. But I offered her a way out and she didn't want it. It's all up to her now, as much as it fucking hurts.
I don't buy it. There must be something you're afraid of.
I never said I wasn't. I just try to keep my fears in check, and judging by the way you perceive me, it seems to work just fine.
Fair enough. Fear can be useful, though. It can raise your awareness of dangers.
Really? Do you need to tell yourself over and over that putting your hand in a fire will burn you? You can assess the risks of a situation and act accordingly. But once that's done, focus on your actions rather than the possible outcomes.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing that with me.
Glad to be of service.
What about Katras?
I don't want to talk about him.
Why not?
Why are you?
Look, he's a good guy, I guess. But don't tell him I said that.
See you later, Rara.
See ya.
What's your take?
Oh, so we're doing the gossip thing?
Yes.
Sure, why not?
Katras.
What about Katras? You fought him in the Purity Wars, didn't you?
Katras. Yeah, we did. And I'm still not sure what to make of his supposed change of heart. Though that's probably just me being distrustful as usual. I have to hand it to him, though. He's funny. Plus, he's quite attractive. I understand why all the women fall for him.
So, you have a thing for old dark elves.
No. I guess I have a thing for good-looking leader types.
Well, I'm right here.
Well played. Either way, anyone else?
Sir Katras offered to show me where the real fun is. I already found the tavern, but I didn't want to disappoint him.
I'm not sure that's what he means.
Oh, isn't it? I'll guess I'll have to wait and see.
What? And you thought you could just walk in here and all would be forgiven? You are a war criminal, Katras Vertarth. You helped Rondor Lacane in the Purity Wars. Regardless of what your intentions may be now, the Crown does not forget.
That may be so, but she needs me. Without me, my men, and the information I have access to, you will have a hard time tracking down those sleepers you're after. That being said, once all this is over, I'll accept my punishment, whatever it is. But for now, please let me help you. I'm trying to do good here.
Fine. You will be granted temporary amnesty until the threat has been taken care of. So will your men.
Thank you. Trust me. These technologies and new men I hired will be worth their...
Tell us what you found out about the sleepers and that masked woman.
I think you're dealing with the Dark Crescent. A group of terrorists that separated from the Exalted Father's realm. In short, they committed over 36 terrorist attacks on the public. Though they've never been caught, we know that it's a former sleeper who's leading them. A woman with extraordinary abilities, who burned down her wellspring and everybody in it before breaking ties with the realm. She's the one you fought in that village in La.
What more can you tell us about her? About the masked woman?
Not much, I'm afraid. Sleepers are stripped of their names once they enter the wellsprings. All I know about her is that she's extremely powerful. Probably the strongest sleeper the realm has produced in a while. But who knows? Maybe that title will go to Sorobi soon. Bloody girl. Bloody stubborn girl.
Most powerful sleeper or not, she is made of flesh and blood, as we all are, and can thus be dealt with. What worries me more is that we are dealing with an extremist. This means she will probably not listen to diplomacy and reason.
Probably not, no. And as for the extremist part, keep in mind that sleepers are completely bonkers. They lack all empathy and humanity as we define it.
Meaning?
Meaning she probably thinks more like a construct. A golem, if that makes sense. Her brain has concluded that for whatever reason, helping Sir Evil God into our world is the right thing to do. And she's dead set on making it happen.
How come Wraith doesn't know about them?
I'm wondering the same thing.
Because it only just happened 3 years ago. Just when you became an exile, in other words.
How sure are you it's them?
Very sure.
Why did this Dark Crescent turn on the Dark Elven realm? What's their agenda?
Well, that's the thing. Nobody knows. Most of their attacks seemed completely arbitrary. Sometimes they targeted members of the Soul, sometimes workers. Sometimes their only intent seemed to be to do as much damage as possible. Then again, keep in mind that sleepers, like all Dreamweavers, think differently than we do. There might be a logic in their actions that we simply don't understand. Yet.
What?
Since you're speaking in the past tense, I assume the Dark Crescent hasn't terrorized anyone in a while.
Correct. A year ago, they just disappeared into the shadows.
To start harvesting souls for the God of Light.
But what interest would a terrorist group have in bringing the God of Light into this world?
I have absolutely no idea.
Well, then at least we know who we're up against. The Dark Crescent. The question is, how do we find them?
Well, that's the problem. As terrorists, the Crescent works from the shadows. So nobody knows where their hideout is, if they even have one. But my men are on it. We'll do everything in our power to find them, and we'll let you know once we've found something.
Fine. I suppose it is the best we can do for now. You did good work, General.
Do you think the battle in the mire will have consequences? Sorobi, Katras' daughter, said she'd report us to the realm.
May I?
Yes.
Frankly, I doubt it. On the contrary, if what the Exalted Father wanted was to get rid of the Fleshkin without the involvement of the Strength, then if anything, we did him a favor. I'll grease some palms to make sure the official reports say it was just a mercenary army.
Either way, there is still work to be done before we can restore the mosaic. Let me know once you've looked into all the trails.
I've been wondering, do you really plan on accepting your punishment once all this is over?
Of course I do.
Really?
Yeah, I can't wait to rot in a mouldy, dark dungeon with a sultry torture mistress putting clothespins all over my body. Especially since, you know, just taking my things and making a run for it once the job here is done is something I'd never even consider.
You're right. That sounds so unlike you.
And for now, we're gonna end it and continue, of course, with more side missions and more main missions in the next one. Till then, like and subscribe as usual, and ta-ta!